One of my favorite things that Alison Camerata does on CNN are these focus groups where she asks Trump supporters how they feel about specific policies. Now, I think this is incredibly important because it gives you an idea of how much the supporters know, what it is that they like about him, what it is that they actually defend about him, and they're asked specific questions. So this latest focus group was particularly fascinating because it had a combination of current Trump supporters and also individuals who voted for Trump but are now regretful for doing so. So with that said, let's take a look at the first video.
Why are you more excited today than you were?
I came in with some trepidation based on his previous record. He's the most pro-life president we've had, more than Reagan. He's done a substantial job protecting the Second Amendment, securing our border, deporting illegal aliens. He made a list of promises. He's coming through on many of them.
I think it's disingenuous to say that President Trump is wholly responsible for the bifurcation that we see across party lines right now.
But is he helping it?
I don't think that necessarily some of the things that he says could be said in a more polished manner.
My issue with this president, who I voted for, is the fact that he has something negative to say about every other leader. But you try saying one little comment that's negative about Trump himself. He jumps into a fit and he has this Twitter tirade. We have a lot of really, I have to be crass about it, idiots who voted for him, including myself at one time.
I take great offense. I'm not an idiot. It's a wise decision that people voted. It was a wise decision for Michiganders, for Wisconsinites, for Pennsylvanians, for working Americans who were tired of jobs being taken away, shipped overseas, or taken by illegals.
God damn, he couldn't have proved her point any better than he did. Our jobs are being taken by the illegals and our jobs are being shipped abroad. Harley-Davidson shipping jobs from the states that you mentioned to other countries because of the tariffs that Donald Trump imposed. So you cost yourself jobs and you think that the undocumented immigrants are the ones that rig the system because they're so powerful? They got no power at all, you schmuck. The people who are rigging the system are people like Steve Mnuchin, who's the Treasury Secretary for Donald Trump, who ripped people off and foreclosed on their houses and made millions of dollars doing it. Donald Trump is the swamp, and you moron are sitting there going, oh, I like what he's doing because he's cracking down on the illegals that have what, all the power in this country? At least one person there recognizes more than that, but in that clip, one person recognizes, hey, and it's true, by the way, not just of Donald Trump, but I'm sure that in your own personal life you've seen this too. The people who are the most aggressive in attacking others, if you criticize them, thinnest skin in the world. Like, oh, how dare you?
Right, that is absolutely right. But what I think is interesting is, look, do I think that guy is an idiot? I don't think, okay, hold. I don't think he knows all the things that you just mentioned. Look, the frustrating thing is when you try to have a conversation with someone who is misinformed, as that guy is, right? And you try to explain to him what Steve Mnuchin did when he was the head of One West Bank and how he he committed fraud to foreclose on innocent people who shouldn't have been foreclosed on. When you try to have those conversations with these people, if they just flat out reject that evidence and that information, well then, yes, I think it's fair to call them whatever name. But I think that, look, that kind of stuff isn't covered in the media. You think that aside from the New York Times covering that story about a record number of elderly people going bankrupt, you think that cable news is covering that?
No, I know. So look, I'm torn and I vacillate between, hey, you schmucks. Just read one goddamn article, right? But they say, no, fake news. Donald Trump told me all the facts are fake. So I'm just gonna close my eyes. So I can't help but call them schmucks and idiots, etc., because they're actively rejecting facts because they care more about their feelings. Donald Trump makes me feel good, like I'm going to be back. I'm a right-wing American and I'm gonna be back in charge and I'm gonna get the illegals. That makes me feel good. Oh, it's actually Donald Trump that cost me my job? Those facts are uninteresting to me. Well, what am I supposed to call you? Now, on the other hand, yes, I know you're right, and I say it all the time. If you actually got them facts and they actually listened, they might have a totally different point of view, and the media oftentimes does not help, not by being gentle to Trump voters. Obviously, I'm not doing that. But by covering all the bad thing, quote unquote bad things he said, and we cover that from time to time too, no question about it, because it's so outrageous. But those guys like that look at that and go, I don't see the problem. He's attacking the people I don't like. I kind of love that, right? No, snap out of it, media. Tell him how they're actually hurting his wages and maybe costing him his job.
Yes.
Because those are the realities.
Yes.
And that he could actually have health care for his family if he didn't vote for Trump. But instead, you keep telling him that Trump hates Latinos and he thinks, great,
Yeah.
I hate Latinos.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know about that particular guy, but you could tell in how he refers to the illegals over and over again.
Look, I don't think we're being unfair if we say that he hates the illegals. I mean, if you are comfortable with what Trump did at the border with the zero tolerance policy, you hate illegals. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Ripping children away from their parents. Okay.
And so you can say, all right, one more time, undocumented immigrants, you can say, look, they shouldn't cross the border illegally. There's a legal process, et cetera. It's a nice privileged thing to say, I got it. And I came here legally, my family did. But we had a little bit more money, so it was a nice privileged thing for us to be able to do, right? We weren't desperate and running from violence and trying to protect the lives of our kids and willing to do whatever it takes. Okay, fine. But even that, I'm saying that's an acceptable position. But you keep calling undocumented immigrants the illegals who are taking our jobs. No, you hate them, man. You talk about ripping their kids away from them they were desperately trying to protect, and you think that's a good thing? No, you got hatred in your heart. Even if we agree, hey, we got to stop it and we can't have them crossing the border and we've got to figure out a way to make sure that they don't cross the border, you don't have to do it with malice. And when you do, you betray yourself and your real motives.
So let's go to the next video.
I want to apologize to the nation for my vote for him. It was the wrong thing to do. It was the biggest mistake I ever made. Like I said, he is a racist.
Why do you believe he's racist?
Why do I believe he's racist? Look what happened in Puerto Rico. He said, oh, they want to just cry and, they needed help. Just because they're not white-skinned, he doesn't want to go down there and help them out?
So I take great offense to the fact that you felt the need to apologize on the behalf of the entire nation, because that also that says to me that you are invalidating the validity of my vote.
No,
and the reasons
I
think the reasons why I voted for Donald Trump is because based on my perception of him, he is not a racist and he has done so much. He has done so much.
Okay, so to the guy saying that, I assume that the end of that sentence was he's done so much for African Americans, and presumably based on the job market, that's the thing that Donald Trump and Republicans say all the time. The economic recovery, including adding jobs, started 93 months ago. Improving the unemployment rate for African Americans started 93 months ago. It started in 2010 under Barack Obama. For you, and that trend continues, it has slowed down under Trump. It has not abated. And we're fair, we say, hey, look, he didn't crash it yet, okay, but he didn't crash it. So I'll give him some credit for that. So he's gone almost 2 years without crashing it. Honestly, that surprises me. I would have thought he would have crashed it by now, but he hasn't. We stick with facts. But if you think that he started the economic recovery and caused the economic recovery for African Americans in this country, you just literally have no idea what you're talking about. It's not remotely true.
Besides which, it goes beyond the unemployment number, which we've talked about on the show repeatedly. What about wages? What about consumer debt? What's really happening with the quality of these jobs? Are they full-time jobs? Are they temporary jobs? Are they part-time jobs? A lot of them are temporary. A lot of them are part-time. A lot of them do pay very little. So, like...
Yeah, look, sorry, just one more thing. Look, some of the stuff, if you don't know it, I understand. Like if you don't know that Donald Trump wanted to prosecute the Central Park Five even after he found out that they were innocent, and he thought, oh, he said they must have done something anyway. That's an unbelievably racist thing to say about minority kids who were wrongly imprisoned for all of those years for a rape they did not commit. We found the guy, his DNA matches, he confessed. Trump says, I don't care that those minority kids were not guilty. I want him back in prison. He says that, why? Because of his assumptions about minorities. Why does he say about Puerto Rico during the hurricane, they were lazy and they didn't want to help themselves? Because he's racist. But maybe you didn't hear the specific comments about how Puerto Ricans don't want to help themselves and they're not working hard enough, as he gave them less money to recover from the tragedy than he did for Republican voters in Texas, etc. Maybe you didn't see the Central Park Five, but you saw him call countries that are black and Latino S-hole countries. You've seen 1,000 things he's done. You've seen him call Latinos rapists and criminals, and how they're all like MS-13.
He doesn't find it interesting that Trump reserves the insult of low IQ and stupid for black people and black people only.
Maxine Waters, Don Lemon. Gee, I wonder what connects them.
LeBron James, yeah.
LeBron James. And for that guy, the dumbest president we have ever had by a landslide, including George W. Bush, to call anyone else stupid. I mean, that should be an affront to your sense of logic and rationale. But you sit there going, oh, how dare you call him racist? Okay.
So this next video is my favorite. Allison Camerata does challenge a Trump supporter here. Take a look.
I work with a lot of Hispanic evangelicals who are very pro-life. Hispanics care about God, family, jobs, education. Top things for us. President Trump is delivering on those things.
Right.
So all this other rhetoric, of, oh, he tweeted this or he did this, I don't really care about that.
You don't care about that.
I care about God,
You're free to care.
family, God, family,
Understood.
jobs,
Great.
and education.
And you made a great point about that. And so, as somebody who is driven by her faith and cares about God and family, do any of the personal peccadillos give you pause? The Playboy model who was paid off, the payments to Stormy Daniels, the lies without affairs. Does any of that give you pause?
You know, we are taught as Christians to be forgiving. I'm not going to get into his personal life. That was not something that I weighed in to go vote for him.
Does it make you
Anything was better than Hillary.
But
Absolutely.
when you hear about the Playboy stuff, does it make you uncomfortable?
No, I'm not here to judge about what he did on his miscellaneous activities or what he was doing outside of his bedroom. That is not what I voted for him to do.
The world's largest hypocrites. I guarantee you, every one of those people were like, I can't believe Bill Clinton disgraced the White House by having a consensual affair. But now, and lying about it, now Donald Trump lies about it through his teeth, might have broken campaign finance laws, have other people do payoffs for him, and sleeps with porn stars while he's married and his wife just had a kid. And on it goes. And now the person who cares about God and faith all of a sudden doesn't give a damn about family values and never did. Never did.
I just want, if we can, I know this is a little different from what we usually do, play the beginning of that last video again, where she talks about the importance of family. Let's just play that again. I want you guys to listen carefully to that.
I work with a lot of Hispanic evangelicals who are very pro-life. Hispanics care about God, family, jobs, education. Top things for us.
So do Latinos care about families being ripped apart at the border as they're seeking refuge and asylum in the United States? Do they care about that at all? I mean, really? You don't care about family. I don't know what she really cares about. She obviously works with evangelicals. She mentioned it in that clip. But you can't claim to care about family when you're supporting a president who specifically rips Latino families apart at the border as they're looking for safety to protect their children.
She's brainwashed. She's brainwashed into believing that the abortion is the only thing that matters. And so if you're an actual baby, who cares? You actually have affairs, who cares? I don't care. All I care is that I've been taught that the only thing I'm ever supposed to care about is a uterus. Now, you don't even know why you were taught that. You were taught that because they wanted to control women. They never cared about it before. That ideology began in America in the 1970s. They used it as a political gimmick to try to trick people like you, and it worked. So you don't even know what principles you think you have. You say, oh, family. Then we show you that Trump has violated everything you ever said you cared about family. And then you go, I don't know, they told me abortion, uterus, whatever. I'm sheeple, I got programmed.
She cheated on every single wife. He's had children from 3 different women. He cheated on Melania immediately after she gave birth.
With a porn star, raw dog style. If a Democrat had done any of that, oh my God, here's what Hispanic evangelicals care about, and white evangelicals and all evangelicals. We care about family values. We care so much about family values. I can't believe Bill Clinton had a consensual affair and then lied about it once after being challenged. Just look, if you're ever gonna say about that it's okay for Donald Trump, all I need is one simple thing. I'm sorry. Just say it. I'm sorry for being a incredible hypocrite about Bill Clinton. Like, I was wrong. Apparently, I never cared about family. Just say it. I never cared about family values. Never cared. And so I'm sorry. Say that and we're done with it. I don't give a damn who Donald Trump slept with either. I care that your wages are low. I care that you don't have health care, and I care that he tricked you into voting for things that are actually against your economic interests and that are gonna actually hurt your own family. That's what I care about. But I can't stand your hypocrisy where you pretended to be against people based on the fact that they were Democrats, and you don't actually have any principles. Just admit it and let's move on.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.